All right, welcome back to Amateur Hour Golf. This is your host, Mikey T. All right, so we came back. Actually, I did this. I actually swung yesterday. I ended up doing some videography, getting that part of the video going, and then now we're gonna go and break down the TSR2 and the TSR3 specifically. So, who are these clubs made for? And I'm going to really break this down because now I've tested it twice. I did a redo. I actually had someone on my channel that said, hey, where are the numbers? And I sat there, I'm like, literally my bio is all about math and statistics. And I got really frustrated when I went to, I'm not going to say the store's name, but I went to a certain place and they had foresight. They had, and I love hitting on foresight because it's really fast on the contact. Go there, and then I'm like, all right, can you send it to my email? Like, oh, we don't have the capability. So I'm like, oh. Well, that kind of stinks. So it wasn't, the video still came out good, but for me, I want to go over everything, like smash factor, where I was hitting on the club, just because this is, look, for me, data, numbers, that is just everything in the world for me. My real career job, you have to remember, this is my hobby. I do this for fun. I make sure that you all know that I'm an amateur. I can smash the living daylights out of the ball. But I'm not a pro. I mean, I don't claim to be a pro. Never will I be a pro. But I can hit a ball and I can test them really well. And not only that, I can mathematically break things down and tell you where on the club, because I remember all these shots, and let you know exactly what happened. So let's go through. I'm going to actually go through the TSR3 first, because that was the first club on the video that you saw, and I want to go through everything. So this was interesting. I actually struck this much better than I did in the first video. And as we're going through, there's just two things that really pop out for me. And it's actually my mistake, three things. It's first, my club head speed. The club was around 110, 111. I normally don't swing that fast. So I'm not too sure if it's the aerodynamics or I had adrenaline in, but I was swinging the club a lot faster than usual. I actually took the 108 out because I could tell, even though it did have a total of 299, I felt like the discrepancy here was it didn't match up to how I was actually swinging and making contact. It didn't really affect the total yardage here, but I did want to take that out because I didn't like that parameter on it, and there's there's specificity on it, because that doesn't make it, don't get me wrong, it's 108. It just doesn't match up to the rest of the clubs of where I was hitting, so you can actually see my swing speed never changed. And that's the number one thing when you're doing these. I know a lot of these pros go over the numbers and they're like, this is probably one of the most important things to take account of too, because if you're changing up swing speed on swings and you're doing certain things, that's fine, but you're not giving an actual specified, basically a perfect average. You're looking for a standard deviation, and the standard deviation here is my lowest is 109.3, my highest is 111. So the standard deviation there is not bad, and the consistency is under 1. All right, so that's a really good thing. That's what I was looking for. So if we add this, it goes up to over 1. I didn't like that, so that's why I took it off. So if everybody's wondering why, yes, this is where my brain comes in, and this is where I start breaking every category in. So the other thing I was looking at is, okay, all my swing speeds were good. And then I go over to my ball speed. My ball speeds are flying. I mean, for me, this is actually above normally where I strike on ball speed. This one was fantastic. I can't believe I actually put one on 164. My ball speed off this club was very good. I was very impressed. Not only that, the smash factor, this is average for me. The smash factor was was basically a 1/10 off, so that was consistent. I left the ball speed over 1. For me, it was okay, because I knew all the swings were hitting well on the club face. I was going through these swings individually while I was doing the video edits and making sure I was just like, all right, I told myself in the video edits, bad swing. That's just a note to myself on this swing. If it really needed to take it out because it's inconsistent, but the numbers matched up. So my smash factor was really good. The ball speed was consistent. The launch angle was I would say out of everything that's most inefficient for me, my launch angle. So I noticed yesterday, and I actually called myself out on it. So when I come up, I have a very steep Freddie Couples type bringback. But normally I come around. Yesterday when I swung the club, I felt really, really good, and I came steep back. So basically, instead of hitting up on the ball, I was slightly hitting straight into it instead of that upward shot. So that was why the launch angle may have been a little fluctuated. The spin rate. So this was the most interesting part. I ranged from 1940 to 2760. The consistency was 273, which is not bad. The spin rate, that's actually pretty good. I was actually hoping to keep the number around 23. This was right. The 2380, 2370. That's usually for a club that's not really too low spinny for me. That makes a lot of sense. So when I was going through this, I saw the 1940 and I was just like, all right. So that I came almost parallel to get that type of, and what gave it away was the apex. I sat there, I was just like, wait a minute, how the hell did I get a 1940 spin rate? And then I put it out 305, which is, and I remember the shot, it was a bullet. Curve, a nice slight angled curve. And I sat there, I'm like, well, maybe if I can, on a rainy day, obviously, it's not going to really help. That's how I approach these is I look at these numbers on, if it was a rainy day, you're not going to get the rollout. So what's going to be my carry distance? So the 272 is obviously below. It was the lowest on there. But I left this on there, even though it is the lowest. It also had the highest total. Meaning I hit that ball on impact, basically just like this. Almost on a downward angle instead of on an upward angle. So that kid came out hot, caught it square in the face, and it was a bullet. So there's, obviously different swings, different ways of hitting it. And then you have the 2760, meaning I came really up on it. And pretty much I had, an apex of 115. Carry was still around 274. I didn't really catch it all too well. But I looked at all my total distances. And then I came down to this and I sat there and I'm like, I never, if you guys look at my first video, I was hitting an M2. I've never totaled around 300 on the dot, may I add, which is pretty cool. So overall, the carry distance 276.7. That's very good for me. The club was exploding. The numbers match up to what I was expecting from the TSR3. I thought there were no inconsistencies on this. And don't get me wrong, I actually did have some bad swings. I took them off because that's not going to give you the data of what you actually saw. So I want to move over to the TSR2 now because I'm going to tell you right now, I was swinging that club slightly lighter, and the club speed is going to tell the entire story there. This one, for me, the consistency was 0.7. And then we're going to go up to the TSR2. The consistency was a 0.9. And we look at this, and we look at this really fast. My club speeds, I had some at 108.9, 109, 107. Yet, I was still putting the ball out there pretty far. I had one at 110, and I started noticing that 110 mark. And this is for my own swing speed preferences. Now, that should be my swing speed. But then I look at the 109.4, and that means I was very good on that smash factor. So when you're looking at this, for me, I don't like trying to overswing clubs. For me, I looked at the consistency. It was under 1, which so just to give everybody a good understanding, when pros break these down, or when they're breaking these down, they sometimes forget and miss some of the key factors. They go over the spin, the launch angle, fantastic. But that club speed, it's not just one swing, it's the consistency across a data sample. So when you're looking at this, you always want the consistency for this, specifically on club speed, under a 1. That consistency has to be under a 1, or the data sample is not going to really be too suggestive to maybe but my data sample would be completely off, or not completely off, but it would be off in a way that it wouldn't make sense for me to present it to a larger audience. And I'm gonna drink my energy drink. 38, and I love Ghost. All right, so coming off, the one thing I did notice with the TSR2, if we look at here, the ball speeds were all high ones. I had one at, and this was the cool part. And I know for a fact I mishit these three. And this one specifically, I was going to take it out. I did not. The reason being is, look, I look at the club speed at 107.7. I look at the ball speed, which is literally a consistency that brings us over 3. If I were to eliminate that, that consistency drops immediately to where I should be giving that data point, and I'm going to. But I wanted to show this swing specifically on the reason why the TSR is so forgivable. On one of my shots, I thought I completely mishit this club. It was really a really bad swing. I came back, I saw the club speed. I'm like, all right, I didn't swing at this. It wasn't an aggressive swing. The ball speed was very low. The smash factor was not good. I actually was able to hit some of my irons higher than my smash factor on this one. The launch angle was really high comparatively to where I normally put it. The spin rate was low, but this shot was down the middle of the fairway, and it carried 267, and it went 290. So that's all on the horrible stuff is all on the user. That's me. The good stuff, the spin rate, the carry, the total, the apex, actually the apex is still on the user. The total and carry, that's on the club. So when you look at the TSR2's forgivability, specifically on that swing, I remember those two swings are in and you saw this. This is a pop-up. Same thing here. Yet, look at the distance. Carry is the exact same, and both these shots were in the middle of the fairway. Both of them are complete mishits. And even though it says the smash factor was 149, look at the spin rate telling me how high and how much I got under that with this, how spinny it was comparatively to all of the others. Where for some reason, it was between 1990 and 2300. That was the sweet spot for the TSR2. I pounded the first. I was very happy that the first 2 drives I hit flush, and that kind of gave me my baseline immediately comparatively to the first one I did. But the interesting part on this was I came down like, all right, I know I hit this. Great carry distance. And then I looked at this. This was the more impressive part with this club. I went down a full mile per hour. I went down and then I hit it literally a tenth more. A 310.9. To me, that speaks volumes about this club. Even though I did not buy this was by number 2. Very close. I actually sat at the store and I had to actually really talk myself almost out of buying this. And it was very hard to do. So I'm going to tell you right now with these numbers and going through these, and these are lower numbers on the lower mile per hour. These tell the baseline, these two. These tell the story of the TSR2, where my swing speed was lower, yet 300, 279, 289, 298 off of mishits. That to me is a fantastic job on Titleist's part to make it that big of a difference from the TSR3 to the TSR2. On my mishits on the TSR3, it didn't feel right, but it still carried. So even though I like the forgivability was much better on the TSR2. I was just swinging much better with the TSR3. Is this something that I would want in my bag? If I'm swinging like this, yes. If I'm being that consistent on my numbers, yes. But if you notice on one of my swings, this was really just a poor swing. And for me, I was tending not to, I tend not to have too many poor swings on driver. This one, I saw this. I took out the outlier for me, but I'm going to be honest. After looking at these numbers, and this proves it. This is putting in the pie. If you are a good ball striker, I don't hit my clubs 300. All right, this was total going 300, and the total over here is 298, slightly lower, but I caught all of these very well on the TSR3. I was swinging this club incredibly well. This I was not, and look at the difference. You have a 275.4 to 276.7. That is literally a 1.3 difference right there, comparatively to a 2-yard difference. And I'm swinging the club lighter, and I'm mishitting this. Oh my God, the TSR2 to me is the club. For me, if I'm buying a club for forgivability on mishits and not hitting the square in the face, I'm going to TSR2. Numbers speak loud. Numbers don't lie. The numbers on when you hit these clubs do not lie. That's why I take the data efficiency very seriously. If I am a better player, if you are like a 7 or 8 handicap and lower, which I am, I'm about 8.5, but I still wouldn't go with this because I'm not a good ball striker. If you are a 8 handicap, but you are a great ball striker, get the TSR3. I'm not gonna lie, I was watching a kid next to me in a bay, and he had to be like 16 or 17 years old. I looked over and he's hitting the TSR3, and I'm hearing the conversation, and I take a look over, kid's putting it out 330, and I'm like, oh my God! The kid was probably about like 5'10", like 150 pounds, and he was just destroying this ball. And here I find out he's one of the he's a top player in the state of Florida, but. Yeah, he's a great ball striker. I was watching him just destroy the TSR3. And of course, I'm like, looking at the kid, I'm like, yeah. So it's cool to see when the numbers actually speak and tell the story. So if you want my honest opinion, this is it. The TSR, these are great clubs. So I'm going to end it here. Other than that, hit that subscribe button. I love followers and being able to help them understand these numbers, go through these numbers specifically, and make them understand where they should be looking for their spin rates, where they should be carrying, what their club speed is, what the consistency actually means. This number is very valuable to how I'm guiding this. I look at this, I would probably take out if for more outlier things, I would probably take this out, but I wanted to keep this on here because in reality, if I take that out, now we're very close. That's why I said, now it's basically even, and this actually carried better for me. So I just left it on here because I know how bad I hit that club. That last one was awful. But look how well, dead center with a draw, 290. 290. So that's it. Other than that, subscribe. Let me know. And if I actually remade this video because I had a few of my subscribers telling me, "Hey, where's the data? We're just going off your word." I'm like, okay, you know what? You're absolutely right. I am a mathematician, statistician. That's literally my career. And for me not to put in the data, I apologize that I even had to do a redo for you. So I hope you take this and use it to, of course, always hit your drivers, as many as you can, just to see what feels right. From a feeling standpoint, they both felt fantastic. I even said that in the video. So good luck to everybody on your club selection. Obviously, with everything coming around, it's getting to the end of the year. 2023, as soon as it gets to January, February, I will be demoing everything. I have good relationships in Orlando, Florida with a lot of the club providers down here. So if you have any questions on any clubs you want demoed when they come out, I will have first swings on a good amount of them. So let me know in the description what you want to see, what is going to come out in 2023. But if you want any specifics on these two clubs, let me know. I've hit these twice now, and I can give you a lot of feedback. Other than that, thank you for watching the channel, and hopefully you subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Amateur Hour Golf out.